Indicate the time is 5:05 and the Finance Committee, City of Warwick, is called to order. Please be sure that your cell phones are either turned off or on vibrate, and if you need to have any conversations, please take the conversations out to the foyer outside. First item is 2013-215, found on page 1. Chief?
Chairman, members, how you doing?
The mic, Chief.
Chairman, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good, sir. The Warwick Fire Department requesting a 612 amendment to extend an existing contract under the MPA number 352 custodial supplies. We requested an additional $2,200 to be added to the bid, which has been extended to December 31st, 2018. The state made this extension on October 10th, 2018. Should it be granted, the funds for this award will come out of budget code 35-331. Currently, there's $11,525.74 in this budget code.
Thank you, Chief. We agree on the number to the penny. When was the last time, let me back up. So we just did a bid for janitorial supplies for other departments. Why weren't you included in that one?
I don't know, sir. I believe that they're separate. We weren't with them before. That's my own
So you
assumption.
believe these bids are separate? Because fire department certainly has bid with DPW in the past on other stuff.
Right. I don't know why it wasn't put in there. But this is my last bid that I'm all caught up now, so that's a good thing for me.
And when was the last award you received?
It was in June.
This past June?
Yes.
For how much?
Pull it for you. Showing one from February for $5,000, but I can't. Let me see here. The only one I have here is from February for $5,000.
So in February 5,000.
That was the last budget. Yeah.
Okay, so in February 2018, you were awarded $5,000, or up to $5,000.
Yes.
And of that $5,000, what do you have left?
We spent all of it. That's why I'm asking for
Spent
this.
all of it?
Yes.
So how did you come up with a number of 2,200?
We have an order going in for right around $2,100 for this coming month, and the bid runs out at the end of the month. So that's all I put in for. I don't know when the state is going to extend it.
So you haven't placed the order yet?
No, we did not.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action. Second.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 2019-85A, found on page 23.
Matthew Salitro, Department of Public Works Director
Matt.
for the City of Warwick. How are you? We're asking to rescind the bid of 2019-085A for motor/hydraulic oil and transmission fluids, grease, chassis grease and gear lube.
So, Matt, I'm seeing in your request to withdraw, that it says you're not looking to purchase in 5-gallon drums because of transfer, et cetera. The 120-pound canister is more conducive to what you do and how you do it. And in addition to that, I note on the list of items on the bid document. So when we're talking about 5 gallons versus 120 pound, which item in this description list of stuff are you referring to? What number? The numbers 1 through 18.
Number 14.
Number 14.
Correct.
But number 14 doesn't indicate anything about a 120-pound canister. It just says chassis grease.
What's that?
Industrial. It doesn't say anything about... So my concern is, did the RFP specifically state a 120-pound canister?
It actually did. So when we did the bid specifications, it called for a 120-pound canister, but their item description under number 14 did not clarify that. But in the bid specifications, it did.
Okay. But yet in number 13, it did specify 120 pound. That's why I was asking 13 or 14. So what you're telling us is that in the bid, in the RFP, it stated 120 pound. It was somehow eliminated from the description line right here. Okay, answered my question. Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Hearing none, need a motion to rescind.
Move for favorable action.
Move for favorable action. Oh, second, sorry. Seconded.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for that explanation. We are on 2019-157, found on page 47. Maybe that's right. How did I go to 47? Which one did I skip? Okay, sorry. 2019-85B, found on page 35. Matt.
So the department is looking to award 2985B for same thing, motor oil, motor hydraulic oils and transmission fluids, chassis grease and gear lube, and this is a re-award. This comes in the 120-pound kegs that we need to dispense for the equipment.
Matt, this is going to be a 2-year bid from October, which, by the way, this is coming to us in end of November, and this contract expired October 26th. You're looking for $42,000, correct?
Correct.
And that's going to be from October. I'm seeing Christie shake her head no. What is it?
Oops.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in here for
Please.
a second. This is just to re-award the number
2,200?
that was rescinded.
Okay.
Nothing changes other than the vendor.
Okay. Thank you there, Christie. Appreciate it. Any questions from members of the committee? Sir.
Just for clarification, this is a 1-year contract or a 2-year contract? I have October 2018 to 2019. Is this a 1 year?
1 year.
1-year contract.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was looking
No,
at
that's
something
fine.
different.
No, thank you. Just want to make sure.
And there is, for 2,200, there's plenty of money in the account. Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2019-157, found on page 47, pipe fittings and valves.
Good evening.
Dan?
Good evening, Councilman. We received 5
Dan,
bids.
state your name for the record, please.
Dan O'Rourke, Chief of the Water Division.
Thank you.
We received 5 bids for pipe fittings and valves, and we're recommending the lowest responsible bidder for all the items. This is a one-year contract for the period 1/25/19 through 1/24/20. The current bid expires on 1/24/19, and the funding for this bid will be allocated between 2 budget codes over 2 years, 84,363 for this year and 84,363 for next year, for 13,000 and 12,000 respectively, and 25,000 for next year under budget code 84,364. And for the record, as of this afternoon, I checked the budget codes, and there's adequate funds in both accounts.
So, you said 3 line items for monies.
No, actually 2 line items, but 84,363 for 13,000 for this fiscal year and next fiscal year, and then 84,364 for next fiscal year.
Okay. All right, that clears it up, because I was just going to let you know that you're really close on the 84,363. So just keep an eye on that account. You're
And
okay right now, but you're
the
close.
reason we're close at this point in time is because a lot of the funds have already been encumbered, through prior bids, so.
Okay. Now, I have taken a look at all these bids, and I'm also going to ask my colleagues to give an opinion on this as well. But my opinion in looking at these numbers is, I can assure you I'm not going to support 5 vendors on this. I'm not going to support Core and Main, because I don't think their prices indicate that's in the best interest of the taxpayers. And McLean, for sure, I'm not going to support, because they decide to not bid on 98% of the stuff, and then they're within pennies at the end. So my mind is I've ruled out McLean and Core and Main. Windwater is competitive on especially the big stuff, the big number stuff, $100, $200, $300 difference. Prescott, I think I would agree with you, and I understand that, you have a broken this or broken that, and it seems as though recently we've been experiencing a lot of broken somethings throughout the city. And I can understand where you need a backup. So Prescott, I think, would be a good backup, I agree. Tri-Sales, for the most part, the only thing that I see of interest in Tri-Sales is item number 15, A through Q. And there is a significant difference on those items. So what I would suggest, and it's, again, open for conversation with both of my colleagues, my recommendation would be Windwater being our primary vendor, Prescott being a backup, and Tri-Sales being for those items that I just identified, where there is a significant savings on those sleeves, tapping, and fabricated. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
No, I agree with that. I went through the numbers as well. It looks like Prescott and Warwick, Windwater, they had the majority of them. Again, I appreciate you going through each one to get the lowest for each thing.
Again, it's difficult from where I stand. And we've had this conversation about a half dozen times. What is a low bid? What is the lowest responsible bid? Et cetera, et cetera. So.
Dan, you did a good job here.
Yeah.
And
I know.
we appreciate having this, and now it's
No,
up
I
to the
understand.
Finance Committee to kind of work it all out. Your job is to present us with the numbers and the information. Our job is to, disseminate what's the best deal.
Yep, that's good. And I do think, as the chairman said, we want to make sure that we have multiple options because, well, when you need something, you need something. So we want to make that. And I feel confident looking at all of the things that those three should be able to cover it. But again, I appreciate being able to look at that list, like the chairman said. You can go and look at what 3-15A is and look, and to see the prices, and you can see the difference of it. So,
Sure.
Dan, do you think, is there besides, when you looked at this list, was it purely just the finance side, the price side? You were following the ordinance?
Correct in dealing with them through past experience, availability of products, reliability, a number of factors, but namely financial.
Yes, thank you.
Namely financial, and we deal with them on other items too. So they're not Johnny-come-latelys. They're the game.
Right, and I'm agreeing with what the chairman said for the simple fact. Usually, I think the last time you came in, your department and many other departments have explained to us, and the chairman's experience has definitely proven it, is when you'll have, he mentioned there was one company that bid on one item, so item 17 of parts. That was the only bid they put in. But I also noticed that the three other companies put in those bids, so it's not like it's a sole source part or like one of those unique parts. So, Mr. Chairman, I would agree with what you said, and also going on the testimony of what, the diligent work he did, I would have no problem for your recommendation.
Thank you. Let me have a PCR on this, please.
That'll be PCR 18118.
Okay, any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? So we're going to have an amendment here, and that amendment is going to award the bid to Windwater as primary, Prescott and Tri-Sales as backup.
Mr. Chairman, can I just clarify for accounting, you don't want these itemized. We're going to award this to the three companies and a dollar value, but not itemized by item, correct?
No, I don't think we need to go through the itemized unless any of my colleagues think we do.
In other words, take
Dan,
item one right now. Item one is only for Prescott. The way we're saying, we're going to allow him to go with the best deal.
Correct.
And make that decision himself. So technically, he'll be able to order item one through any one of those three.
Correct.
Okay.
But
All
we've
right.
also asked him to have Windwater as his primary source because the majority of those numbers are the best numbers.
Right. But the resolution will have those three companies and the dollar value and the term.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Dan, that works for you? Okay. All right, so we have a PCR 18118, formerly 2019-157. We're amending it to award the bid to Windwater, Prescott, and Tri-Sales. I need a motion on the amendment.
So moved.
Seconded.
We have a motion, we have a second on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We need a motion for favorable action on PCR 181-18 as amended.
I move favorable action PCR 181-18 as amended.
Seconded.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dan. Good job on bringing in those numbers, too. Oh, and by the way, all three of those categories had adequate numbers in the budget items, okay? 2019-176, found on page 60. Food product services. Actually, food service product.
Good evening. Meg Underwood from I'm the Director of Senior Services.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks. So this is for our food service products. These are products that are in our coffee shop that are for sale. It's self-supporting in that it's not taxpayer money. The proceeds that people purchase from is what is used to purchase future product. This is for a 6-month bid, January 1, 2019 through June 30. We had a single bidder, Gordon Foods, who has been our vendor for many years. And I have a breakdown for you of the 99 items quoted. 42 items were the same as the last bid, 33 were slightly higher, 24 slightly less. This is a drawdown of $4,500 for the 6-month period.
Thank you. And Meg, if I remember correctly, I think over the last several years, your request has been pretty level on that 4,500?
It has not changed, no.
Any questions from members of the committee? Sir.
Just a quick note, it's spent a lot of time at the senior center. I was there a lot the last couple of months, and it's always full and lots of activities, and I know they really go in there and use this. I see them coming out with this. This is a really good service that the senior center provides. So
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate that.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed, I didn't get an exact count, but I'm noticing that, was there only one company that continuously put in the bid?
There is only one. The last time I made some phone calls and we got 2 bids. The other bidder, which happens to be our provider for paper goods, I split the bids several years ago between the paper and food. And unfortunately, that vendor was only able to quote about half of the product. So right out of the gate, unfortunately, they were disqualified. So we do keep trying to get new vendors interested.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, sir. Meg, I'd also just want to remind you about the 60-day ordinance that we have for presenting your requests prior to contract expiration.
I do apologize for that. Because it's a 6-month bid and because it's food prices, I think it's particularly hard for vendors of food to commit for 3 months to food prices because they fluctuate, which is why I have it every 6 months. But it does come up quickly.
I'm not asking them to commit for 3 months. I'm just saying to bring your request. This is an ordinance, so it's not something that, you know, we're just saying we'd like to have done. It's an ordinance. And the ordinance says that a bid request has got to be presented to the Finance Committee 60 days prior to the contract expiration. So we're not looking for a 3-month bid. Okay. We're just saying get to us 60 days ahead of time.
I apologize.
And
I will
it'll be
make
for
sure
that
to do
6-month period. That's all.
I'll make sure I do that next time, Council.
Any questions from members of the committee? Any further questions? Members of the council? Any questions? Members of the public? Hearing none. Need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
2019-177, found on page 68.
Mr. Chairman,
Chief.
the City of Warwick Fire Department has reviewed bid.
Chief, just identify yourself for the record.
Chief Arnold, Fire Department.
Thank you.
Warwick Fire Department has reviewed bid 2019-177 dive equipment. The City of Warwick received 1 bid. After careful review, the Warwick Fire Department recommends the bid being awarded to Giant Stride Dive Shop of Warwick, Rhode Island. Giant Stride was the only bidder and meets all bid requirements without exception. The current bid expires December 19, 2018. This award will be for 2 years, from December 20th, 2018 to December 19, 2020. The total award is for $20,000 based on available funds. The funds will come out of budget code 35236. Currently, there is $10,000 in that account.
Say that again on the 10,000?
There's currently $10,000 in that account.
No, there is not.
On
As of what date did you have 10,000?
right before I came here.
Just before you came here? Okay. Well, I have a report here on 11/20 that says in 35-236 there is $9,635 in that account.
I just checked it before I came. I don't have a copy of it, but that's what I...
Well, you have a requisition in for $365. The bid was initially or the award initially for fiscal year 2019, which is what we're in now, was initially $10,000. And there is a requisition in here for $365, so you don't have $10,000 in there.
Okay, I thought I checked it before I came, and that's what it was.
Well, unless somebody withdrew the requisition from November 20th when this document was presented to me, and today it's in there. So you're essentially what you're doing is you're looking for $10,000 for this year, this fiscal year, and then $10,000 for the next fiscal year. Is that correct? Could you answer my question first, and then we can talk with Brian?
Yes, it's $10,000 for this year and $10,000 for the following year.
Okay. And Brian, you have something different than what I have?
Yeah, he's not showing any.
I ran a report as of today's date at 9:31. The 35,236, budget adopted of $10,000. Presently, no funds expended, no funds encumbered, and $10,000 is available.
Okay, Brian, why don't you come over here?
Sure.
That's the report that was run on 11/20. See down below requisition?
Yep. I can't speak to that right now. There must have been one that was canceled, I'm guessing. There was a requisition for $365, so this is actually what's available. This is available, this 9,000.
Correct.
Yeah, so there was a voucher for $365 that apparently has been canceled.
When?
I don't know right now. If you like, I can certainly research that and get back to you, but
How long is it going to take?
I could do it. This was a PO. That was a PO? Could have been an acquisition, but it wasn't paid.
Well, see, that's my point. I need to know what it is, what happened to it, was it paid, was it withdrawn? I need to know. If I put this to the end, would you have that enough time to do it?
I can try. No promise, but I'd be happy to try.
Okay. All right, we're gonna put, right now, we're just gonna set this aside for right now and give Brian an opportunity to.
Do you mind if could I have that just for now just so I know what I'm looking for? So that was on what date?
I'd have to have a police officer accompany you.
Oh, that's true, yeah. I think
You want Ed to hold it up so we can have him in there too?
All right, thank you, Brian. Chief, we're just going to set this aside until we go through the rest of this information. I need to know what happened with that, okay?
Like I said, I know I checked and I brought it around here.
Yep,
before I came
your
over.
numbers agree with Brian's numbers, but both your numbers disagree with my numbers. And on 11/20, there was a requisition. So again, this is a numbers thing. It's not so much about, the dollar issue. It's about how did 365 get in there, how did it come out of there, and where did it go?
Okay.
Once I get that answer, we're fine. So we're going to just hold this one, and we're going to move on to the next item, which is 2019-178, radiator manufacturer and/or repairs. Found on page 76. Christie.
Good evening. Department's requesting to award to BGR Radiator, assuming they can provide the documentation required by purchasing, to make a formal award, and the recommended cap is $5,000.
Okay, Christie, I spoke with Matt on this earlier today, and based upon some of the research I've done on this, and in the interest of the bidding process, I'm going to request that this go back out for a rebid. So, do I have any questions from members of the committee? Hearing none, need a motion to send this back out for a rebid. Well, give me a PCR first, please.
That's going to be 182.18.
182.18.
So we have to take unfavorable action.
We need a motion for unfavorable action as it's going to be going back out for rebid. So unfavorable.
I move unfavorable on PCR 182-18.
Seconded.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Christie. 2019-181, found on page 79.
Department's requesting to award the bid for chlorine for McDermott Pool to Roberts Chemical, DBA Smith Plating Metals, in the amount of $20,000 for a 2-year period.
So, Christie, this is going to be crossing over into the new fiscal year. So I need a breakdown as to how much you are looking for the remainder of this fiscal year, and how much is going to go over into the new fiscal year.
Well, it would be $10,000 per, it would be $5,000 per.
It would be what?
Every 6 months, essentially, we're estimating $5,000. So January to June is $5,000, July to December is $5,000, January to June.
So
this bid begins January 1st, 2019.
I understand.
So January to June, we estimate $5,000.
Okay. But what you had said was you were looking for 10 and 10. So you're looking for $5,000 from January to June, because right now you only have $5,500 in that account. That's why I'm asking these questions.
Right, but I also still have money encumbered on a purchase order that hasn't been spent yet.
You have an encumbrance of $2,297.53.
I have an encumbrance of $1,616.75 still remaining on an open purchase order for Roberts Chemical.
As of when?
As of this afternoon.
Okay. So my documents show an encumbrance of $2,297.53. Yours is showing.
There could be another purchase order for a different company for chemicals, because that's what this line item is for. That's also encumbered.
So what is the number that you show for 42,241? How much money is available in that account?
$5,500.
$5,500, okay. So what you're asking for is for us, excuse me, to award you $5,000 from now to June, and then the remainder of the $15,000 for the remainder of that fiscal year.
We estimate every 6 months that we will spend $5,000 for chlorine for the pool. So over a 2-year period, every 6 months, that's where we get $20,000. But it goes by the year award. So it's the first year is January to December. The second year is January to December. So each year, calendar year, is $10,000. Each fiscal, well, the remainder of this fiscal year would be $5,000. Then we have fiscal year 20, which would be $10,000, and half of fiscal year 21, which would be $5,000, which is $20,000.
Did you say the year 21?
Fiscal year. Fiscal year.
You're not, you said
Right.
December 31st, 2020 is what you want this bid to go to.
Is the calendar year. That's fiscal year 21.
2020
Right.
is fiscal
July
year
1.
2021?
July
Fiscal
1.
year starts July 1st, 2020, correct?
Right. So this coming July 1st is fiscal year 20.
Okay.
Which is 2019.
Okay. You guys good with that? Any questions? Sir?
Again, I'm going to ask the same question I asked the others. It's just something that I know when I'm noticing quite a few. I didn't get a full count, but I'm seeing at least, I think, 4 Rhode Island businesses on this bid list. The only 2 companies that came forward were these 2?
Yes.
Was there any? They're just not putting in the bids?
we send them.
Yeah.
And we advertise them on our website and Newport's website.
You're right.
People that are listed here, we actually either email or postage, regular mail,
Okay.
if we don't have an email.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, Councilman, the answer is no. They're not calling the vendors, which is why on one of the recent bids we just talked about, I had called the vendors. So maybe we need to start getting provided to us the phone numbers of the vendors so we can make our own phone calls. Okay, any other questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Need a motion?
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Christie. 2019-182, radar calibrations and repairs, found on page 83. Major?
Good evening, sir. Major Rick Rathman for the Warwick Police Department. It's a request for a bid award for bid 2019-182. In October, the city went out to bid for calibration and repair of the police department's radar units. The bid request for calibration and service of both radar and laser units used for speed enforcement. One vendor bid on the calibration and repair of our radars, and we are recommending that bid be awarded to TDME Calibration Labs. It should be noted the agency's speed enforcement program requires radar equipment that is properly functioning. The police department currently uses handheld, vehicle-mounted, and message board radar units, along with handheld laser devices to enforce both traffic laws and local ordinances. On an annual basis, these units must be inspected, calibrated, and serviced as needed to ensure that any violations issued as a result of their use are court defensible and fair to the motoring public. If approved, the funding for this service contract not to exceed $5,000 would come from Budget Code 30-227, Supplies Traffic Safety. If awarded, this one-year contract will run from January 9th, 2019 through January 8th, 2020, covering a period of 2 fiscal years.
Major, are there any shipping charges that we'll be seeing for this?
Let me go to the bid exactly. I know they're built into the conditions of the RFP, so we have a max total cost of $300. So if the repair and or shipping exceeded that, we have to give authorization, so they can't just arbitrarily. The reason we put that in there is some of our units have reached an age point where it's not cost effective to do the repairs at a certain price point. So 300 has been sort of our litmus test that would include the shipping side of that, sir.
And you're looking for an award up to $5,000, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
And that traffic safety budget as of this afternoon was $85.06.37.
Yeah, you had the correct amount and right to the penny too. Major, I also took the liberty of making some phone calls because it just seems strange to me that we have some of these other companies local that haven't bid on this. So I did make phone calls. I did speak to a couple of the people, and for the record, sometimes there are good reasons why other vendors don't bid. And one of them, as an example, said that the cost for shipping back and forth for them was just going to be too high and they wouldn't be competitive. Also, a vendor said that we don't do the laser testing. They don't do the testing or repairs on laser radars. And they would have to send it to the folks that the major is asking us to award the bid to. So that's why they didn't bid it. So, yeah, I think that we're good with this, but I feel particularly comfortable that we made those phone calls and we found that out. That's it. That's the only questions, the only comments I have on this. The vendors I did reach out to, they had good reasons for not bidding it. Financially, it just didn't work for them. Any questions from members of the committee, council, members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 2019-193 ballistic vests.
The police department is requesting exception to bid for 2019-193. The department is seeking authorization to purchase ballistic vests from various vendors for police officers under the provisions of City Ordinance 56-6, exceptions to the notice required on an as-needed basis. The exception is requested in order to meet contractual requirements provided for in Section 31 of the current collective bargaining agreement between the FOP and the City of Warwick that allows officers to select a vest of their choice, for which the department would pay the average cost of the top 3 brands of a Level 2A vest or the top 3 brands of the Level 3A vest. The levels indicate the vests are tested for resistance of certain calibers and ballistics of specific ammunition. These tests are performed by the National Institute of Justice. Ballistic vests are replaced at the department's expense upon reaching a maximum life that is normally 5 years, unless the vest receives trauma through being shot or otherwise impacted by other elements such as excessive heat, humidity, and wear and tear through daily use. It is anticipated that 40 officers, including at least 10 new hires for the January Academy of 2019, will require new vests during the next 1-year contract. It should be noted that each vest purchase is specifically made for the individual officer. The department is not in the practice of purchasing vests in order to keep an inventory or stockpile on hand. The department is requesting spending authority not to exceed $40,000 to purchase the vest on an as-needed basis. If approved, it would come from Fund 30-260 Ballistic Vest. The current contract expires on January 30 of 2019. New contract will be January 31st of 2019 through January 30th of 2020. The current balance in that budget code is $45,772.03 as of close of business today.
Say that number again.
45,772.03. $772.03.
Okay. All right. So you have enough money in the account. This is for how long?
For 1 year.
1 year. Okay. So, Major, this conversation on this, the conversation we're about to have, is primarily going to be for the record, to put it on the record again. Years past, we had this discussion about the vest and their average life and the cost, et cetera, et cetera. You know, why is one $778, the other one is $890, et cetera. So I've had some conversations with Major Rathburn, and the life expectancy, I would like you to speak to that for the record, Major, as to maximum life that is normally 5 years. My question to you was, based on what? You know, who makes this certification? Who makes this determination that the life of that vest from a performance standpoint, who makes those decisions and what are they based on?
So the National Institute of Justice is the testing and certification body for the ballistics test of any ballistic vest or body armor. What they've done, fortunately we have multiple decades of research to support this. They leave that number generally up to the vendor. However, based upon their testing over a period of both used vests and new material, because the aramid fabric, mostly Kevlar based, does break down over a period of time. Conditions such as close to the body contact, sweating. We're unique in New England in that we both have cold and warm weather factors to take into account when our officers wear these on a daily basis. So it's a combination of the lifespan of the fiber as it's tested over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. And again, we have National Institute of Justice has decades of testing now. So upon review of their material of both used and new fibers, they've determined that the safest point and their minimal base recommendation is 5 years, at which point most vendors have concurred with that and has shown to be safe when an officer does receive impact from a projectile or a bullet.
And Major, also just speak to what is the basis that you use or the police department uses for the performance of the vest?
So of the two, the 2A will stop a 9mm round, 147 grain at certain ballistics. That's important because we want to make sure that every officer's vest protects them from the gun that they carry. Obviously, we bring a gun to every scene, so whether or not a suspect's armed, because our firearm is present, if that firearm was introduced and was used against us, our vest would protect us from that. The option of the 3A you'll see is a higher, that goes up to a 44 Magnum. That's a larger caliber bullet under the NIJ testing. It's a handgun round, but it has significant more blunt force impact, and that's used by a lot of our tactical officers on the SWAT team, those that are in high-risk positions. So it's some additional protection, but all of our body armor we ensure is protected from the sidearm that we carry. It would be the 2A minimal up to 3A for that 9mm round.
Thank you, Major, and thank you for the detailed information. I mean, you know, explained in that technical terms to that degree. We appreciate that. It makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate the time that you have put into getting all this information. Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions? Sir?
No, just hopefully we'll never have to test them, so thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Second.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 2019-191, found on page 88. Salt. Kristen?
Department's requesting to piggyback the state bid for the purchase of road salt for a one-year period, well, almost a one-year period, expiring September 30th, 2019, in the amount of $154,000.
And Christy, you got the 154. You're actually like $20
right.
under. So Christie's account has $154,020 in it. So that's a good thing. This was also an issue with the state, with the MPA too, right?
Yes, they didn't post the information. Actually, I emailed them and then got the information later the same day on October 31st. So I missed the deadlines the deadline for the earlier meeting this month.
Yeah, we understand that. Christy, from my own understanding on some of this stuff, so there's a letter here from Morton Salt to the State Department of Administration. It's dated September 27th. And the initial term, it says, goes on, thank you for awarding the contract bid to Molten Salt, blah, blah, blah. So in September 22nd, Molten Salt knew that they had this bid from the state. They were awarded the bid. They even specify in here from the term of 10/26/18, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any idea why it takes the state so long to let the, in this case, let's just stick with the city of Warwick, to let us know?
I don't. I couldn't speak to that. I check their site almost daily, you know, to see where the updates stand for certain things that we use. And I had actually, this one in particular, I had emailed about because, you know, we need to purchase the salt. So, and the answer that I got was, you know, it should be posted later today. And then he ended up sending me the PDF. And then it was on their website when I went back and looked again. So why they're so far behind, I have no idea.
So could you let Pat have the mic, please? So Pat, I mean, so who do we contact? I mean, this puts the department heads in a precarious position, puts us in sometimes a difficult position. This is something that was known prior to the letter of September 27th, but the department doesn't get notified until whenever it was, 31st of October, I think, or something or other. Who do we reach out to?
I have tried over the past years, even when prior to being purchasing agent, when I was buyer, and I used to have to deal with the Mason bid, and I was constantly trying to get at least an email, and they wouldn't even give me an email guaranteeing, well, it's going to happen, but it's not posted yet, and apparently the best summary I can give you is I get that there's a lot of lines of protocol that before they put it on the website.
Interesting.
Internal issues.
Could you provide me with the name or names of people that
Absolutely.
I should contact?
Yep, I can give you the person in charge of purchasing.
Sounds good.
Send that to you.
Okay. Thank you, Christy, for that. Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public?
Good evening.
Hello.
Hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving.
We did. How about you?
It was great.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Stacia Hyla, Ward 9. So historically, we've been budgeting every year around 70, 80, maybe up to 90,000 for road salt. And I believe you just said, Councilman, that there's 154,000 in that account right now?
That's correct.
Okay, so what this tells me, just from knowing the history of what we've been budgeting, we've never gone over 80, 90,000 a year. There's 154,000 in that account. So does this mean that every year now we're going to be going through $154,000 worth of road salt, or what exactly does this mean, please? Because it's actually more than double what we've historically have used in the city.
Well, I'll let Christie speak to this as well, but I can say this, that with respect to the winters, the snow, the ice, do we have a lot of snow, a little snow, a lot of snow, a lot of ice? I don't have a crystal ball, so I cannot determine how much rock salt or salt we're going to need, or sand. It's all predicated upon the weather. In 2018, we had a budget of $155,000. In 2017, we had a budget of $165,000. The numbers prior to that, I do not have. And sure, you know, we budget, in this case, possibly $154,000. Maybe we'll spend half, maybe we'll spend it all. I know one thing, I am not going to sit and answer to the taxpayers if we don't have salt to salt the roads if we have a terrible winter. That's my position. Christie?
Well, everything that you just said is correct, but historically, no, it's not 70, 80, 90,000. Last year, we spent 101,000 on salt. We were budgeted 155. The year before that, we spent $88,000 on salt. It is entirely weather dependent. It's weather driven. Whether we have, you know, ice storms, we have rain and then it freezes, we have snowstorms. We've overspent the budget before. We have to, but we have to do what's right for the people within our city, the people that live here, and the people that travel on our roads.
Thank you. Sure.
I understand the last thing you want to do is disappoint the taxpayers of Warwick. And we do understand that. The roads are horrendous as they are. But again, we're not controlling spending. Every year this goes up, and if it doesn't go up, they don't use it, and then it's sitting there. We don't know where the money ends up at the end of the year, because we know money gets moved around at the end of every fiscal year when there's money left over in a line item in the budget. So all I'm asking is, historically, we've never spent this much, but there's $154,000 in this line item in the budget. We're not going to use it. I'm just curious to see how much is going to be left over next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any further questions from members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Christie. Now we're going to go back to 2019-177. Brian? Chief, Brian, who's going to speak?
So what happened, Chief Arnold Fire Department, that was withdrawn. What happened is we had a repair to a wetsuit, and there's only $75 left in that account for the bid award. So we had to hold it, we had to withdraw it and resubmit it after we get the new contract, new bid approved.
Okay, so you had a requisition pending for $365, and that was withdrawn?
Correct. Purchasing picked up on it, that there was only $75 left in that bid award that we could spend. So we just withdrew it because we knew this was coming up.
But we didn't know that just a little while ago.
What's that?
You didn't know that just a little while ago.
When he picked that up, he went down and pulled all the records on it. Then I remember it going down, but it was last month. So.
When was that requisition withdrawn, Brian?
The requisition was rejected by Jessica Dorney on 11/21.
I'm sorry.
Okay, and my report is on 11/20. Okay. So someone, who was that again that withdrew it?
Purchasing.
Purchasing.
They realized, as the chief mentioned, there was $75 left on the original award. So during this approval process, it was caught that a $365 award couldn't go because it exceeded the $75 balance remaining.
So, Chief, did you receive a notice from anyone saying that requisition was withdrawn?
I'm sure we did. It was probably the secretary that received it.
Did you receive it or not?
I don't recall me receiving it. It probably went to the secretary.
When purchasing rejects it, such as that, it goes back to, a notification goes back to the person who enters it. So it would have been anyone in his department that entered that requisition. We would have been told it was denied.
Okay, if you could send that notice of denial.
It's an automatic by Munis. We don't send it. We reject Munis, the system.
Okay.
During the approval tree, when it gets to us, we would have looked to see if there was enough money in the bid to approve that. There was only $75, so he was requesting $300 and some odd dollars.
Okay.
So Jessica did what she should have done and said, you cannot do this. She rejected it. By hitting the reject button, Munis automatically sends an email to the person who entered the requisition saying your requisition was denied.
So, Chief, could you have that notice sent to me?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I want to make sure. I want to make sure that Munis sent that, because I'm concerned in the beginning that we didn't know what was going on with this $365. It could have been $36,000. It could have been $360,000. So I want to be clear as to what happened.
I do recall it going down at this point because she came to me and said, "What do you want to do?" And we looked up the bid. We said, "Oh, we're going to be going back in front of council next month, so we'll get it squared away then." So.
Okay, so you're going to send me a copy, and my colleagues on the Finance Committee, a copy of that email from Munis saying that that was rejected. And then you might want to maybe have a conversation with whoever the person was that requested an item, not knowing how much was in the budget in the first place.
Well.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any questions, further questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded.
Thank you.
We have a motion for favorable. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Brian. Sure. So let's go back to the beginning here, and let's get a motion to approve the minutes of November 14th.
Favorable action.
Seconded.
We have a motion favorable. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Lynn. Okay, PCR 165-18, various replacement auto parts. Is Matt still here, or is Christie still here? Thank you, Matt. I just wanted to have someone at the podium, okay? Because we had already discussed this, and for everyone that was in attendance or watching on the video, we had agreed that DPW was going to provide us with certain documents which showed the list prices and the discounts, et cetera, et cetera. That was also at a meeting, and I wasn't particularly paying attention to it either, where the bid package had to go out sooner than normal. So it was pretty much impossible for DPW to put this information together in a day, basically is what it come down to, and get it in our package. So it just wasn't in the package. Simple. It wasn't anyone's fault. It's just what happened. We lost a couple extra days because of the holiday. So we're going to hold this until the first meeting in December, which is December 3rd. And I'm just going to go through the list of the other ones, Matt, because we have the same circumstances. Just so I'm going to clear these up right now while Matt's at the podium. So we're going to jump over item number 3, which is PCR 16618, unless someone has an objection. No objection. Okay, we're going to go to PCR 170B, various pots, Salt and Sanders. Same thing. We're going to hold till the December meeting, and for the same reasons. Let's go back to the other one first. Let's give me a motion to hold PCR 16518 till December 3rd.
Motion to hold to December 3rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Need a motion to hold until December 3rd, PCR 170B.
Motion to hold to December 3rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. PCR 17518, motion to hold till December 3rd.
Motion to hold to December 3rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion to hold. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go up to PCR 166-18, a resolution regarding funding from the state of Rhode Island for Buckeye Brook. And that is Councilman Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is something that we've been dealing and addressing. I'd like to start off by saying I want to thank the community as well as my colleagues here and the mayor's office and all those involved in doing everything they can to preserve our great natural resources we have, especially with the booming city that we are and are growing to furthermore. We support an airport. We're also a very residential area. We're a family focused community, and something like this is extremely important to have as a community, but also to get the support from the state would be is imperative. I want to thank Council President Marola for his full support and also guidance on this, but I'm all set, and I ask for any input and action, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from members of the council? Any questions from members of the public? Sir.
Philip Durkole, Ward 4.
Go ahead.
Facilitator for Friends of Warwick Ponds. We're here tonight to support this resolution. We think it is very important, and we commend the council, Councilman Howe, Councilman Marola, and all the council members for supporting this initiative. I'd also like to make some comments that you may or may not know. The resolution to this issue is going to be multi-year. My estimation is probably 3 years. In the meantime, the residents who live on Warwick Pond are suffering with property loss and the non-use of their property. They cannot use it because it's underwater. So my comment is, please, go with a sense of urgency. Keep that sense of urgency there. Keep it in front of us, because sometimes we slack off and deem things not as important. But if everything goes smoothly and there are no problems, we're looking at least a 3-year resolution. So thank you, council, and hopefully you'll pass this initiative, this resolution, and we can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Just a quick note on the, excuse me, in the resolution itself, it says to have the presentation before the City Council at the December 3rd or December 17th meeting. Council is saying we need to pick a date so we can post it and everything. So whatever the sponsor or the council president is looking to do for those 2 dates, but we need to pick one.
Councilman Howe?
I would revert right back to the council president for his convenience. Mr. President, in the resolution, we give the option of December 3rd and December 17th for the state to come before the council for a presentation. I'd like your guidance on what you feel schedule allowing.
It's Department of Public Works, not DEM.
Excuse me, Mr. President, Department of Public Works.
I think we should probably go to the public meeting, the second meeting. The 17th.
Okay.
Yeah, I would amend it to delete the 3rd.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to delete on line 41, delete December 3rd or. December 3 or. Need a motion.
Okay, I make a motion on line 41 to amend it to delete 3 or. So it'll read at the December 17th, 2018 meeting.
Seconded.
Okay, I see what you said. Okay. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to eliminate on line 41 the letter 3 in the word or. We good? Okay. Need a motion? We have a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, we will move as amended.
I move as amended for favorable action.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, PCR 177B, same thing. I need a motion to hold till December 3rd.
Motion to hold to December 3rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion to hold December 3rd. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7, PCR 177B, original equipment parts, hold December 3rd for the same reasons.
Motion to hold to December 3rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion to hold till December 3rd. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. It is now, hold on, we got minutes. Wait a minute, will you?
Everyone gets all.
Just 1 minute. Gotta have patience. So, minutes for the November 14th. I need a motion to accept.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. It is now 6:14. The Finance Committee is adjourned. Whatever you'd like, Mr. Chairman.
Health and welfare, right?
Councilman Corley, we're going to be opening ordinance. The time is now 6:14. The ordinance committee is open. Begin with the acceptance of the minutes for the committee meeting held on November 14th.
Make a motion to accept. Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 1, PCO 27-17, change in variance to support small business, second passage. Do I have a motion for... I apologize. I'd like to open it up for any questions from the committee. Any questions from the council? I do know that I had a request for another sponsor in this, Councilman McAllister. Councilman McAllister asked to be a co-sponsor in this as well. Thank you, Councilman. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Move favorable action on PCO 27-17 for second passage.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 2, PCO 19-18, ordinance in regards to working without a building permit. This is not drafted. Councilman Lasser.
Hold January 3rd. I'm sorry, January 23rd.
I have a motion to hold till January 23rd.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The time is 6:16. Ordinance committee is now closed.
This is the one I told not to come. He was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Is it Nazio?
Nazio?
Nazio. Yeah, I talked to him. And Tarnell.
So you're good with that one?
Yeah. Okay. So there's claims. What time is it?
6:18.
Public safety is now open at 6:18. First, we'll have acceptance of minutes from committee meeting held on November 14th. Do I have a motion?
Move favorable action. Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a claim PCR 143-18. This is Tom Tarnell. And he requested to be here tonight, right? Is that right, Lynn? Is Tom here? This is not one I do. Yeah, that's the one I do. But this one was also approved. So when they approved it, so we thought I made it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I mean, but they approved it to me. So do I have a motion?
I have make a motion to hold until...
We held this already.
Oh, for approval, all right. My motion is withdrawn.
So I need a motion for favorable action. This was, the amount was for $300. They admitted the claim. So this was a pothole on Harding Road, causing damage to a tire. They approved it for $300, so they knew about it.
Yeah. The department is recommending that they approve, and I will move for favorable action.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Next, we have Robert Mazzio. Now, I talked to him because I know this gentleman was in a wheelchair. It's also been approved. So again, that's committing real guilt. You know, this was a pothole on Kilvert Street. We know these are the streets that are always have the potholes. So I told him he didn't have to come because I talked to him for a long time, and it was approved for $300. So I'm looking for a motion.
On recommendation of the chair and also the department, I will move favorable action.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 What time is it? 6:21. Public safety is now closed. Intergovernmental specs. Charter review, I want to be added on to that.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. You were on it last time, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we're doing a new commission.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
I call the Intergovernmental Committee at 6:24. First, we need to accept the minutes from the September 17th committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
I would move that we accept the September 17th minutes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes for the October 1st meeting?
I move we accept the minutes of the October 1st meeting.
Second. We have a move, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. First on the agenda is PCR 134-18, a resolution to create a charter review committee. This is not drafted. Councilman Lattiser.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two things on that. One is Councilwoman Travis would like to be added on as a sponsor, and I'm going to move to hold until January 23rd.
Okay, we have a request to hold to January 23rd?
23rd. And add Councilwoman Travis on as a sponsor.
And Councilwoman Travis.
And also Councilman Howe and Councilman Qualley.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the public? Do I have a motion?
I move that we hold it till January 23rd.
Second. Second, it's moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 2 is PCR 153-18, a resolution requesting that the Department of Public Works study abandonment of a portion of K Street. Councilman Ricks. Why don't we hold? I will hold that for Councilman Ricks to the next meeting. To the December 3rd meeting. Do I have a second?
I would move that we hold it to the December 3rd meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Passes. Third on the agenda is PCR 154-18, a resolution regarding airport air quality. We have this to come before us. We have a number of co-sponsors. We were thinking that with the new council coming in, I know both would like to be involved in this as well. We have to make an amendment to it at, just like we did at a previous thing, because we have in there either December 3rd or December 18th. We need to clarify that, but we want to move it past the new year, so I'll take some questions on the resolution itself, but I'm going to make a motion to amend line 18, delete December 3 or December 18th, 2018, and add February 25th, 2019. Do we have any questions on the amendment or the resolution?
I have a question on the amendment. Should we be amending line 13 as well?
Yes. Should I read?
So it'll be amended to the same thing?
Okay. Yes, thank you, Councilman. Line 13, we will make the same changes. We're going to delete December 3rd, 2018, or December 17th, 2018, and add February 25th, 2019.
Well, I would move favorable action on the amendment.
Second. The amendment's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I would move that we
Excuse me,
continue.
public comment before vote.
All right,
please.
we're not there yet. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Do we have any questions from the committee on the resolution as amended? Any questions from the members of the council? No. Any members of the public?
Thank you.
Oh, we do.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair, Committee Chair, and Councilman. There is a time-sensitive...
I'm sorry, can you just state your name and your ward for the record?
Michelle Comar, Ward 1. While I can appreciate the new council people and getting everybody involved for a meeting after the new year, there is a time-sensitive issue. What's coming down the pike is the council can make comment on a draft work plan, which makes changes to the air quality monitoring program. And what we realized was the public is out of this process as far as knowing what the existing data points to, the results and the findings. The reports are sent from the health department to elected officials, but there's no website for the public to access them. And I think the public should know what the results of studies and reports are before we take public comment. There will be a formal hearing conducted by the state for the draft work plan to change the monitoring scheme. And the council's not ever shied away from air quality monitoring. Actually, the council in
about a decade ago, was a forerunner in getting air quality monitoring studies in Warwick. They were all over the state at about 5 other locations. And the testing...
Michelle, could I interrupt you for what's the date?
Well, we don't have a date. They were talking as early as last September and hasn't happened yet. So we don't have a date.
So I guess what the council is concerned about is we're inviting people to come. So I don't know if, I mean, it would be a shame if we invite them, advertise it, and they can't come, so we were just trying to give them a little bit of time.
Well,
but if you're saying there's a deadline that they need to get our input because they're about to make a decision, then that might influence ours.
Yes, Council President, there'll be a public comment period, and the council can enter public comments. You need to docket another resolution for comments to the draft work plan, because the place card has been used for this, to have this presentation, public presentation. What you might do to cover the bases is I have a suggestion for an amendment. So that way, and by the way, I have copies of my amendments. I got the SOS email from Council President that this was due last Friday, and Solicitor Harrington beat me to the draw before mine went in Friday afternoon. And I had committed to helping Council President write this. So to address the issue would be, it is requested that this presentation take place prior to future public workshops or hearings prior to the commencement of public comment period related to the draft work plan for airport air quality monitoring. That way you cover the bases and you get the results of the study explained to you, which you've already had the reports, but the public can get knowledge of what the reports say.
I think the issue was that you brought up was the timing, you said. So,
right.
So I think what we're trying to say is if we do it in February, that would give them the opportunity to put it in their calendar and actually be here for a presentation. Is that still a problem or it isn't?
I've not contacted the health department, so I don't know what their schedule is. I don't know how they would respond.
I just think before the holidays, we're probably not going to get a response.
Okay. I'm fine with all that. It's just that if you put in this amendment that the presentation take place prior to future public workshops or hearings, and prior to the commencement of public comment period related to the draft work plan for airport air quality monitoring. That will cover the bases for you.
Okay.
And my other amendments, is the council's pleasure to hold this?
Well, again, I think what the council president was saying is we need to invite the Department of Health to an actual meeting. I don't think we can keep it open-ended.
Okay.
We need to have a date where we're going to invite them, and I don't think we're going to be able to get anybody for December 3rd or December 17th. December 3rd's in 2 weeks, and December 17th, you know, is right in the heart of everything. That's why we wanted to get a firm date so they have plenty of time and notice, so then they can come and present to us.
Okay.
You know, I'm not married to that February 25th date. We want to make sure we give them enough time so they can plan, they can actually come, because we don't want to advertise it, have everyone come, and then the health department says, oh, we can't make it that date.
Well, if the council's going to vote on this, I'd like to pass out my amendments. I don't need a big explanation because they're written. They cover that there's more than one report, and this resolution addresses one report to present on. They've done a couple annual reports, and the State Monitoring Act also speaks to a health study. So we want all those presented at the council meeting.
Michelle, this is just a housekeeping thing. You're just adding in more information for them to give us.
I did, and it's all here. So
it's
I typed it out and handwritten most of it. So it's based on the existing resolution to make amendments. And I can pass this out for the council's use if you'd like.
That's up to the chairman.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to take a look at it before, you know, adding it to
Do you want
anything.
is it okay if we hold it?
We'll take it.
Want to hold it?
We'll look at it.
Till the next meeting?
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, then everybody can look at it.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
may I pass these out while I'm here?
Yeah, if you give it to the clerk, she'll give it to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time on this. Do we have any other remarks from the public? No? All right. So I believe that we're going to look at some additional information, so we should probably hold for 2 weeks. Or with additional time? Yeah, we'll do December 3rd, if I have a motion.
I would move that we hold it for December.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Councilman?
I would move that we hold it to December 3rd.
Second. It's been moved and second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. That's it, right? And that ends intergovernmental at 6:36.
Thank you.
I'm all right. I can sit here and enjoy your company for a few minutes. Yeah, we just held it. That did not happen, no, but it still needs to be amended. And if John Harrington is going to incorporate the amendments that she just handed to us, then it should be the right date. Well, the only difference would be if he was listening, we change that to February 25th. So that would be, yes, Motorola is good with this stuff, and that's what it should be.
Yes.
Yeah. He's calm. There we go. What's our meetings in January? January 25th? January 25th is a... When is January 5th? 6:40. Okay.
It is 6:40, and this is the Public Properties Land Use Committee and Community Affairs. The first thing is to acceptance of the minutes from October 1, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The first item on the agenda is PCO-23-18 sub A, an ordinance amending the zoning of the City of Warwick Belcastle Realty, Inc. petitioner. This is before us for second passage. Are there any comments from anyone on the committee? Any comments from anyone on the council? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Entertain any motions?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The second item on the agenda is PCR-165-17, sale of the former Christopher Rhodes Elementary School property. It's not drafted. I would suggest that be continued to the second meeting in January of 2019, which date I do not know.
I make a motion that we continue PCR 165-17 to January 23rd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is closed at 6:41.
Is it raining?
Wonderful. Everything was good, and then when it came around, the youngest, like the bank before, they can't talk.
I know, and I called today and I didn't ask them. I'll call tomorrow. I called one day, and she, well, I forgot where she was. And they told me to call back, but I didn't call back. Those things with me. Look at this, look at they gave us a new room to. There's no, I can't talk in that way. I have to go outside to talk. Yeah, well, stupid. We had a beautiful room. We could make phone calls all day long. To put us in the studio. No, no, nothing. Yeah. They say it wasn't being used for district court or something like that. Now we don't have a Christmas party. We don't have nothing. Yeah, not good. All right, let me go. We had a Lions meeting too, right? Yeah. Good now. I don't know if I paid or not.
Oh, yeah, Anthony. What do we got? Belcastle Realty is Crown Plaza, second passage. That's on the medical thing. Come on, I got two agendas. Because that's what we have for stuff. Put the blenders in the trunk of the car.
doing? Happy Thanksgiving. How's everything?
You have dinner with the Rudies then?
Yeah, that was very good. She did a great job. She really did.
Said she was so proud of her stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It was like, yeah. So, hey, good for her. So, what we're going to do is, so it must be you guys are in the time. So.
Your name up on top here, no?
No, just cross yours off.
Yeah, and put your name on top.
Just cross yours off.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Now you're number one. Oh, that.
Nice to see you.
Jeremy's not here. Who's sick? You can sit right here. No, he's sick. So you can move in there. I don't know how you put the chair up. This one's low. No one ever showed me how you adjust the height of the chair. This thing is so low.
I've been here 6 years, and nobody showed me. There's something about how you turn the chairs.
It's just because it's trouble.
Rick, this is a big issue, because the chair was so low, it's like the chin's on the desk.
No, I think it's going down. Oh, but it's going up now. Yeah, I don't know.
She's like looking mean to me.
That's low.
Is that better?
What did you do? Does that work? No, it's low. I don't know how you do it.
Stop it. That's
No, he said. No, I switched with Jeremy because I had the show on. I said, I'm not sitting down here. I didn't know how to change it. I don't know how you put it on. Forget it. It's comfortable, right?
I will eventually.
It took me 2 years to get mine adjusted.
It's got this little thing here you have to take. I don't know if you have to do that first. Something from that to requisition, someone come and work on it for a minute.
7.
Yes, I think it is.
The city council will come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Here.
Mr. Qualley? Here. Mr. Galucci?
Here.
Mr. Howe?
Here.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McAllister?
Here.
Mr. Ricks? Ms. Travis?
Here.
That's 7 present.
Just so we're clear, Councilman Ricks had called me. He was ill today and will not be present. If the Councilman Howe could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. We do have a presentation tonight, and I'd like to congratulate the Pilgrim Boys soccer team on a tremendous season, and the city is so proud that you were able to win the state championship, and it's few and far that we get an opportunity to welcome champions in Warwick, and you made us proud. So we do have a presentation, and I believe we have, I'm not too sure which council member is going to present the, do you have them? Okay. So why don't we, was it Councilman Corley that was going to present? Okay. What's up? That's fine. Sure. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to Councilman Corley, and we'll call out everybody's name one at a time, and then maybe at the end everybody can stay around for a picture with the council. Thank you.
I want to congratulate you as well, and your coach who coached my son, and my daughter also played at Pilgrim High School. She was part of the class where both the boys and girls won the Class A championship back in 2002 about. Perhaps Coach Carroll might remember. In any event, let me call out the individual players' names. Giovanni Gio Andre. Stand over there somewhere. Next is Max Caracuzzo.
Leguli. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
David DeAndrea.
Congratulations, David. My son and daughter were both defenders.
Zach De Silva.
Congratulations, Zach.
Zadell Dulcini. Dawson Enright.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Paulo J.R. Frias.
Congratulations.
Luke Jabal.
Congratulations.
Matt Jabal.
Congratulations.
Jacob Holland.
Congratulations.
Nick Jaggy.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Stephen Laurent. Eric Martins.
Congratulations. Enjoy the next 2 years.
Zach Miller.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Colin Murphy.
Congratulations.
Danny Pixino.
Congratulations. Now you have to repeat next year.
Ken Rex.
Thank you very much. You got 2 more years to go. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Gabriel Sarmiento.
Congratulations.
Bill Tadawosian.
Congratulations.
Ethan Thayer. Bill Carroll.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll give you the mic. Since I know that Coach Carroll is very shy, I think it might be some time for him to words about the boys and about what they accomplished this year, and I don't think he'd ever walk away from an open mic.
All right, so thanks ever so much. Be recognizing the boys. I hardly recognize them with ties on. They were tremendous all year, and they just did a great job. And in the final, it was just perfection. They played it great, and it was a great season for them. I know they are happy. I'm happy for them. And I don't know where the hell the Italian is, my assistant coach. He's probably at home eating the meatballs. But no, it's been a great season for these boys, and they've been a treat to coach. I can't say enough about them. I'm so proud of them. But thanks ever so much for recognizing them. Thank you.
Thank you. I know the rest of the council wanted to come up and also congratulate you, and maybe we could take a picture too. Does Beacon take the picture for us? Thank you.
Oh, yeah?
From England. They're both soccer coaches.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah. Mr. Rooney's been the coach of Henrikin for 37 years.
Oh, jeez.
He's been the coach of Pilgrim for 27. I don't think Henrikin made the playoffs this year, so...
State title, that's correct.
That's right.
We have two items on for second passage regarding zoning matters, and we have experts here present. I just, if there's no objection, I just wanted to take those matters out of turn. One is PCO 2717, a change in variance to support small business. And the second item is the one where we have experts, which is the one I wanted to take, PCO 2318 sub A, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Warwick, Belcastle Realty petitioner, second passage. Do I have a committee report from land use?
We are moving.
Second passage?
Second passage.
On PCO 2318? Is that
Yes.
favorable action?
Favorable action.
All right, for action, Councilman Galucci.
Move for favorable action on second passage of PCO 2318 sub A.
I have a second, Councilman Lattisaw, Councilman Howe, Councilman Corley, Councilwoman Travis, Councilman McAllister. Any discussion on second passage? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Yes. Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
So that stands passed. Next item on the agenda is executive communications, and there are none. Are there general communications from council members? Any general communications? If not, we'll move on to quarterly reports. And MIS.
Good evening. Phil Carlucci, MIS Director. I provided you a report on our major projects and the status of those projects. And I thought if it's okay with the President and the Council, that I'll just go through them quickly, and then if there's any questions.
Sure, if you could just speak a little bit closer to the mic and a little louder because of the echoing in the chamber.
Very good. How's that?
Good.
Good. I'll go through the projects that we have here and then answer questions as they come up, if anyone has them. It's a tough act to follow. Our accomplishments weren't quite that of the team that started this evening off, but we did finish two pieces of our virtualization. The two top bullet points, the project virtualization of the physical servers is 100% complete, and we have decommissioned the old servers, the physical servers, and taken them out of service. If there's any questions on those.
Phil, could you remind us how long you've been the MIS director?
I think I'm going on my 5th week.
5th week, okay. Just wanted to, council members obviously know that, but I don't know if members of the public recognize that, so, you know, appreciate jumping in considering how it was left. It's not an envious task. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councilman Lattiser.
Thank you, Mr. President. More just a comment. Phil, I've had an opportunity to meet with you on several occasions in a very short period of time that you've been here, and I just want to commend you on your openness, your energy, your willingness to discuss the issues, and certainly your willingness to jump into something that you were kind of handed. But I do appreciate that open communication, and I do appreciate you being straight up about things. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilman Corley.
Phil, I just have one question, and that is when we're going to be able to accept the credit card payments for the sewer installation charges. This goes back over a year. It came up before. If someone comes to City Hall to pay a bill and they have a credit card and they're told, no, we can't accept that, it just doesn't make sense in this day and age. You've already explained to me what the problem was, that you have to get some software in order to be able to change that, or at least that is my non-technical way of saying, this is over my head. I'm going to just ask them to get it done so that I can tell people to come in and swipe their cards.
We've made a little progress in that area. I've spoken to Janine. The first response I had, we're going to a new service very shortly. And the first response I got is it would cause a good deal of extra work within the sewer department to be able to do that. More recently, I pushed a little harder, and more recently they've now come back and they've said, you know something, we may be, with the new service, we may be able to do this. So the gentleman that I'm going to be working with, Brian, I believe, was out for the holidays and stuff, but I'm going to be meeting with him shortly so we can discuss exactly what's going to take place, how we go about doing it, and put a project plan together to see what it's going to take to get it done. I apologize, I don't have an answer for you exactly what it'll take.
No, that is fine. I'm going to tell you that the council is urging you to get it done. If they say it's going to be a little difficult for them, there's a lot of things that are difficult in this city, and that is not an acceptable answer to the question of why can't we get this done. To say it's hard work. They should be able to do hard work. They should be able to do their daily work. And I don't see that happening on a daily basis. Thank you. No reflection on you. I'm talking about getting it done at the Sewer Authority.
Is there any other questions of council members? Councilman Lattiser.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Phil, as I understand it, other departments in the city accept credit cards, correct?
That is true.
So, other departments have figured out how to do it?
Yes.
For sure.
And I have confidence we'll be able to do it here also. I just don't think the time's been spent to really do the analysis on what it's going to take.
For what it's worth, I'm right in pace, right in step with Councilman Qualley. And to say that it's tough or it's hard, other departments did it. I'm sure this department can get it done too. So I'll be supporting his efforts 100% on this. Thank you.
Is there any other questions from council members? If not, thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
We'll go to the acceptance of minutes from council meeting held on November 14th. somebody could move that. Councilman Lattiser.
Favorable action?
Seconded by Councilman Howe, Councilman McAllister. Any discussion? Excuse me. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The minutes stand passed. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment, Rule 41. After general communications and prior to the consent calendar at each City Council public meeting, there shall be a 15-minute period during which citizens may comment about Warwick City government issues, subject to the following stipulations. The total period of time for public comment shall not be excuse me, I misread that. The total period of time for public comment shall be 15 minutes. Comments need to be brief in order to allow as many citizens as possible to participate. The topics for comment shall be issues directly affecting city government. City council members will not respond to questions during the public comment period. The public comment session will terminate at the expiration of 15 minutes. Waiver of this provision requires unanimous consent. One person had signed up tonight, and that's Rob Cody, if Rob is here. Go ahead, Mr. Cody.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of documents I just want to make you aware of. I'd just like to take a few minutes to address the issues pertaining to the Warwick Fire Department unused sick pay illegal side scheme that surfaced earlier, a couple months back, but then again, more documents relevant to this illegal side deal came into fruition on October 20th. And in addition, this week, some more illegal documents came to my possession. As you are all aware, for in excess of 2.5 years, I've been very vocal, both speaking in public and in private with many of you. For more than 2.5 years, I began speaking about this issue based upon my analysis of city documents, and I made several public requests for records to bring to the attention to the council that there was a serious problem that needed to be addressed. Unfortunately, for 2.5 years, nothing took place. Even after presenting overwhelming mathematical evidence that there was a problem, this problem was not addressed in a timely fashion. During those numerous meetings and phone calls and emails and public presentations, I presented all of you with basic mathematics that showed there was a serious fiscal problem and that on face value had the appearance of an organized criminal intent. Hundreds of hours of time was spent analyzing and extrapolating every penny that was paid out wrongfully. I'm quite sure of the accuracy of my analysis, and I hope at some juncture I'll get the opportunity under oath to explain all the events as they have unfolded. And here is preliminary numbers, which in my opinion are accurate, and I can tell you the name of every single person, the date, the payment, the percentage, the times, how much they were overpaid. This could not have been done without numerous people involved in a contrived conspiracy to defraud the tax dollars. That's face value, and it is fact. Finally, after over 2 years, this council decided to hire an auditor. That was back in February, and we still don't have an official report. Yeah, I'm concerned about the statute of limitations, because a lot of time is going by, and I don't see anybody in a rush. During this time period, in attempts to obtain records from the city, I was blockaded at virtually every juncture. The same kind of blockades took place with the auditors, and unfortunately, this council did not act diligently enough and timely enough, nor did the administration, to work to a solution. I may add that during this time period, I personally have been targeted, mocked, harassed, and disparaged because of the fact that I actually know how to do simple 5th grade math that the administration in this city should have done, and so should this body have done that. After multiple requests for any and all documents relative to unused sick pay and being answered with no such document exists, a document finally surfaced that was signed by Fire Chief Ed Armstrong, Union Fire President Bill Lloyd, and Peter Ruggiero. Here's the secret illegal side deal that went through 2 ratification processes where this was not included, which is a violation of city law and a violation of state law. Yet to this date, nothing's been done. That document was the illegal secret side deal that was knowingly and willfully contrived to misappropriate hundreds of thousands of dollars to members of this fire department, who, in my opinion, are morally bankrupt. Now, after it's been in public for the scrutiny, the former mayor and every member of his administration claims they knew nothing about it, which speaks volumes as to why this city is in the financial predicament that we're in. We have side deals. What are the other side deals? Do we have side deals with tires? Do we have side deals with snow plowing? Do we have side deals with sewers? We don't know, because there's never been a forensic audit performed. You recall that in 2016, Councilwoman Wilkinson, who sat on the Finance Committee, made a big to-do that she's going to have a forensic audit. And then somebody spoke to her, and she toned it down to we're going to have a general audit, and someone spoke to her. Then she toned it down to we're going to look at best practices. Then she hired a council auditor. Remember the council auditor? Ms. Kathleen Avila. No business background, no business education, no accounting background, had a psychology degree. And in 9 months, didn't produce 1 document. So here we are today. But I wanted you all to know that last week, I discovered yet another document relative to the illegal side deal that has absconded hundreds of thousands of dollars from the taxpayers and from these fine young men that stood here today. And here it is. It's the instruction manual on how to scheme the money, right here. That was presented to the bookkeeper by the fire chief. We actually have the illegal step-by-step presentation of how to do the mathematics to steal. And by the way, you sure all know, the 2.5 years ago when I presented several of you the math and how they were stealing, here it is, right to the decimal point. You know, this is really troubling. You know, after all this overwhelming documentation of an organized scheme to commit fraud within this fire department, they're still producing their own payroll on pencil and paper, and they're not being overseen by anybody. How is that even possible? So I'd like to bring to your attention some current laws that are on the books today as they relate to both the city and to the state and even to the federal government. Title 11, criminal offenses. Well, let me step back. When you look into the city charter and you look at the department heads, and it specifically outlines the department head, the fire chief, he has the sole responsibility of all fiscal matters and disbursement of all monies, because he is a city officer, a municipal officer. Title 11, theft, embezzlement, false pretenses, and misappropriation by state or municipal employee. Whoever, being an officer or employee of the state of Rhode Island or any department, agency, instrumentally or political subdivision of the state or any city or town, embezzles or wrongfully converts to his or her own use or benefit, or to the use or benefit of any other, any money or property which comes into his possession or control in the execution of his office or employment, shall be fined not more than $50,000 or 3 times the value of the money appropriated, or imprisoned for not more than 20 years. Why isn't there handcuffs on him? Why isn't the state police involved to do their investigation at the same time the auditors are? Then we have, as you know, 3 people signed this deal. No one else knew. Those 3 resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars wrongfully paid out, which the city's own labor attorney, Mr. Vincent Augusta, has gone in public saying, totally illegal, city should seek restitution. 11-6, conspiracy. Except as otherwise provided by law, every person who shall conspire with another to commit offense punishable under the laws of the state shall be subject to the same fine and imprisonment as pertinent to the offense the person shall have conspired to commit. What baffles me is Peter Ruggiero is still employed by this city. He oversaw the illegal side deal along with these other 2 characters, and no one's been arrested. I don't understand it. One other thing that I just happened to find out today, and I'll share with you, is the fact that, if I can find it here, is that this city, the majority of the employees in this city are paid via electronic wire transfer, commonly known as direct deposit. When an illegal direct deposit is made, it violates U.S. Code 18 of fraud by wire. Let me read that to you. Whoever having devised or intended to devise any scheme or artifice to defraud or for obtaining money or property by means of false or fraudulent pretenses, representations, promises, or transmits or causes to be transmitted by means of wire, radio, television communication, any writing, signs, signals, pictures, or sounds for the purpose of executing such a scheme shall be fined in this title and imprisoned for not more than 20 years. This is what's going on in Warwick, ladies and gentlemen, and I have to be honest with you. It's a little unsettling that a resident has to bring this to the attention of the powers that be. Something needs to be done. I'm calling on Mayor Solomon this evening to publicly call in the Rhode Island State Police to do an investigation while our auditors are doing their investigation. Let's not forget, the auditor's job is to look at your books and look at your line items and look at your expenditures and say, we either did or did expend those monies appropriately. They're not there to tell you if a crime has been committed. But certainly, the preponderance of the evidence is prima facie that there has been a crime committed. And I'm a little bit upset that during all this time, we've had legal minds on this department. We had on the Finance Committee in 2016 an attorney, 2 attorneys. When I came before this council and screamed and yelled about this, I got mocked. I don't know, maybe they went to Warwick grammar schools and missed the 5th grade class where we're doing the math. This is really simple stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody missed it. You know, to bring a little levity into this reminds me of the Seinfeld episode. Remember the Seinfeld episode when George Costanza was having inappropriate relations with his secretary on the desk in the office, and he got caught, and the management said, hey, you can't do that. And he said, was that wrong? Should I not have done that? Because if there was a handbook that said I should have done that, maybe I wouldn't have. Did the fire department not know that it was wrong to have a secret side deal for 5 years, go through another collective bargaining segment, not bring it up, hide it from everybody, and they hid it from this city council? The honorable body, this document was hidden from this honorable body. Somebody needs to go to jail, because if not, this will continue. Just like we had the secret borrowing policy at the Department of Public Works. We all know how that worked out. Get somebody stealing, gets fired, goes to court, and we have all the people from DPW come and say, hey, we had the borrowing policy. We could borrow gas, we could borrow tools, backhoes, never have to pay for it. And then we had the policy at the Warwick School Department where we had another individual abscond $100,000 worth of merchandise, stealing from our children. Nobody caught that. How do you miss $100,000? And what did he get? He got to keep the $40,000 of stolen goods affixed to the dwelling and had to pay a fine of $40,000. If you tell me right now that I can come here and I can steal a couple $100,000, and if I don't get caught, it's good. If I do get caught, I simply have to pay it back and I get probation, sign me up. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a serious problem on your hand. I've been talking about it with other people that are concerned for this city, that this city needs a complete forensic audit, line by line, of every single item. There's been members on this council for 20 years or more and haven't done that. I don't know anyone in this room that would conduct their own business in the way that the city of Warwick is conducting their business, and it needs to end, because the end result is these fine young men that were here tonight that made us all proud, They're leaving. They're going to find their future somewhere else because this city is going to be so broken and so financially hurting, they're not going to stay here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time and happy holidays.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is PC. As far as announcements of appointments, there are none. Announcements requiring confirmation, none. The consent calendar, the first item on the agenda is PCR 17918, resolution relative to bids committee report. I'm sorry, 18018, resolution relative to bids committee report. Councilman Lattiser.
Committee recommends favorable action.
For action, Councilman Lattiser.
Move favorable action on PCR 180-18.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilman Howe. Councilman McAllister. Yes.
Okay, Mr. President. Item number 1, 2013-215, State of Rhode Island janitorial supplies, favorable action. 2019-085A, motor hydraulic oils, favorable action. 2019-85B, motor oil hydraulic oils, excuse me, favorable action. 2019-157 has become PCR 181-18. 2019-176, food service products, favorable action. 2019-177, repair of dive equipment, favorable action. 2019-178, radiator manufacturer, to become PCR 182-18. 2019-181, liquid chlorine, favorable action. 2019-182, radar calibration repairs, favorable action. 2019-139, ballistic vests, favorable action. 2019-191, State of Rhode Island, salt for road use, favorable action.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the consent calendar? Any questions on the consent calendar? If not, the clerk will call a roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
Councilman Lattiser, I believe there was two items that were removed from the consent calendar.
Correct. Item number 4, PCR 2019-157 has become PCR 181-18. It was favorable action with an amendment.
Okay, so that's a recommendation. And do I have a second? Councilman Howe, Councilman McAllister. Go ahead, Councilman.
The amendment was to award the bids to Windwater, Prescott, and Tie Sales.
Okay, and that's the amendment?
That's the amendment.
Okay, do I have a second on the amendment? Councilman Howe, Councilman McAllister. Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Abstain?
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 6 yes, 1 abstain, 1 absent.
Amendment stands passed. Councilman Lattiser, if you could move it as amended.
Move favorable action on PCR 181-18 as amended.
Seconded by Councilman Howe, seconded by Councilman McAllister. Any discussions as amended? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Abstain?
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 6 yes, 1 abstain, 1 absent.
PCR 181-18 stands passed. Councilman, I believe you had one other
Correct. Item number 7, formerly 2019-178, has become PCR 182-18. Recommendation from the Finance Committee is for unfavorable action.
Okay, could you move that?
Move unfavorable action on PCR 182-18.
Seconded by Councilman Howe, Councilman McAllister. Any discussion on unfavorable action?
The reason for the unfavorable action is after doing a little bit of research, we believe that if this were to go out for rebid, we could have probably a more favorable process. And that was our recommendation to the department, was to put this back out for a rebid.
Okay, is there any other discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Ms. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes.
PCR 18218 stands passed. Next item on the agenda is PCO 2717, a change in variance to support small business, second passage, committee report ordinance.
Move for favorable action with Ward 7, Councilman McAllister added as a co-sponsor.
Okay, the clerk will reflect that Councilman McAllister is a co-sponsor. For action, Councilman Howe, if you could move it.
Move for favorable action.
Seconded by Councilman Lattiser, Councilman McAllister. Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you. This is something that's been worked on with the entire council, but especially I want to identify Councilman Lattiser for being a small business owner here in the city of Warwick and going and meeting with my constituents. This has been some time, but also I want to identify and thank the planning department for working with it, as well as the board for approving it and taking the time to get this done. Move for favorable action. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So this is second passage of PCO 2717. Is there any discussion on second passage? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
PCO 2717 stands passed. Item 2, PCO 2318, we've already voted on. Next item is 3, PCO 1918, an ordinance in regards to working without a building permit. Committee report, ordinance.
Hold until January 23rd.
Held until January 23rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 16517, sale of former Christopher Rhodes Elementary School. That's not drafted. Committee report, public properties.
We moved it to January 23rd, I believe.
Held till January 23rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 13418, resolution to create a charter review committee. That's not drafted. Committee report, intergovernmental.
We got a request for Councilwoman Travis, Councilman Howe, and Councilman Corley to be co-sponsors, and we're going to hold until January 23rd.
Okay, if the clerk could reflect the co-sponsors, and it's going to be held till January 23rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 14318, claim Tom Tynell. That's committee report, public safety.
Favorable action.
For action, Councilwoman Travis.
I move favorable action on PCR 143-18.
Seconded by Councilman McAllister, Councilman Lattiser, Councilman Howe. Any discussion?
This claim is for $300 and it's been approved by the committee.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
PCR 14418 stands passed. Next item on the agenda is PCR 15318, a resolution requesting that the Department of Public Works study abandonment of a portion of K Street.
We missed another claim, Mr. President.
Claim of Robert
Yes.
Mazzio. I apologize. PCR 14418, claim of Robert Mazzio, committee report, public safety.
Favorable action.
For action, Councilwoman Travis.
I move favorable action on PC 144-18.
Seconded by Councilman McAllister, Councilman Lattiser, Councilman Howe. Yes, Councilman.
This claim also was approved for $300 by the committee.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Corley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
PCR 14418 stands passed. Next item on the agenda is PCR 15318, a resolution requesting that the Department of Public Works study abandonment of a portion of K Street. Committee report, intergovernmental.
Hold to December 3rd.
Held till December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 15418, resolution regarding airport air quality. Committee report, intergovernmental.
Favorable action with an amendment.
For action, Councilman Howe.
Move for favorable action with the amendments.
Okay, seconded by Councilman McAllister, Councilman Lattiser. Do you want to put forward the amendments?
Yes, sir. The amendment is line... Apologize.
I can do it if you...
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, Councilman McAllister will move the amendments.
On the amendments on lines 13 and 18, delete the words December 3rd, 2018 or December 17th, 2018, and we're going to insert therefore February 25th, 2019.
Okay, that's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that amendment? I know we were just changing the date there and some grammatical changes. Any further discussion on the amendment? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Qualley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
Yeah, okay. So the amendment stands fast for action. Councilman McAllister.
Hold to December 3rd.
It's going to be held till December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 16518, Sub A, 2019-130B, various replacement automotive parts. Committee report, Finance.
Hold December 3rd.
Held to December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 16618, a resolution regarding funding from the state of Rhode Island for Bucky Brook. Committee report, Finance.
Favorable as amended.
Favorable as amended. For action, Councilman Howe.
Ask for favorable as amended with additional amendment.
So you're moving a favorable action with an amendment. Do I have a second? Councilman Lattiser, Councilman McAllister. You want to move an amendment, Councilman Howe?
Yes, Mr. President, please. On line 57, where it says, and the president of the Buckeye Brook Coalition, I would like to add, and Friends of Warwick Ponds.
Okay. Is that the only amendment?
As well as on line, here it is, line 41, eliminate December 3 or from line 31.
Any further amendments?
That is all, Mr. President.
For the benefit of Councilor Harrington, could you read that again?
Certainly. On
The first one.
Thank you. At the line 57, where the sentence originally ends, President of Buckeye Brook Coalition, I would like to get rid of the period and add in, and Friends of Warwick Ponds.
Okay, that's the amendment.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, do we have a second on the amendment? Councilman McAllister, Councilman Lattiser. Any discussion on the amendment? No? Yes, Councilman Qualley.
Is the amendment intended to have both the president of the Buckeye Brook Coalition and the president of the Friends of Warwick Pond? I don't understand.
That is a good question. I'm trying to, as discussed in this chambers numerous times, I'll let them decide who the delegation would be. I know that we'd like both organizations to work together. So I'm just trying to, but thank you.
I think they were trying to have more participation and not less.
I understand. I just didn't know. I did not think the same person was the president of both groups.
No,
and
no, they're not.
I understand. And I understand what you're trying to do. I just asked the question, and I'm fine the way it is.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Councilman Lattiser.
Just to possible help with the clarification, you might want to say, and an appointee from Friends of Warwick Ponds. I think that would clean it up.
So we're going to make that part of the amendment.
I have no problem with that, Mr. President.
So we're going to add that language, Counselor. So if we can have a second on that portion of the amendment. Councilman Lattisaw, Councilman McAllister. So are there any further discussion on the amendment? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Morello?
Yes.
Mr. Cawley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
That's 7 yes, 1 absent.
So the amendment stands passed for action, Councilman Howe.
Hold till December 3rd.
Held till December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 17B-18, now 2019. Was a recommendation to hold? No.
Mr. President,
Okay.
as a point of clarification, the intent was to move favorable as amended.
Okay. Okay, so why don't we move, Councilman Howe, why don't you move it favorable as amended?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Move favorable as amended.
Seconded by Councilman Lattisaw, Councilman McAllister. So we've had the amendment to the legislation, it's a resolution. Do we have any questions? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Marola?
Yes.
Mr. Cawley?
Yes.
Mr. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McAllister?
Yes.
Ms. Travis?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, that stands past PCR 166-18. Next item on the agenda is PCR 170-18, now 2019-131, various parts for sand and salt spreaders. Committee report, Finance.
Hold December 3rd.
Held till December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 175-18, now 2019-138A, purchase of various new tires. Committee report,
Hold
Finance.
December 3rd.
Held till December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 177B-18, now 2019-161A, original equipment parts for various vehicles. Committee report, Finance.
Hold December 3rd.
Hold to December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is PCR 178B-18, 2019-161B, original equipment parts for various vehicles. Committee report, Finance.
Hold December 3rd.
Hold to December 3rd. Next item on the agenda is unanimous consent. Ward 1, anything for unanimous consent?
Pass.
Ward 2 is not here. Ward 3?
Pass.
Ward 4? No, Ward 5, excuse me.
Pass.
Ward 6?
Pass.
Ward 7?
Pass.
Ward 8?
Pass.
Ward 9 passes. Councilman Galucci?
Move to adjourn to the docket session.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We're in the docket session. Ward 1, anything to docket?